And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The Milo gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email.
NCC Sim Racing, back in the homeland. This week, Road Atlanta for 20 laps, 20 minutes, and race number 7. Your host, Bradley Cooper, here tonight for the 12 corners of Road Atlanta. Actually update that image for you. We get the correct one up there on the screen for you. Hey, this looks better. How about that? 2.54 miles with 12 turns here tonight. 2 heats. The feature inverts the top 12. Like I said, 20 minutes and 20 laps. It's taking them about a minute 20 to get around this racetrack. Minute 17 is a good lap as we get through qualifying here. These guys putting up 1 minute 16.376 for your pole sitter here tonight. That's Brian Kennedy and the number 77. About 20 seconds left to go here. Take you trackside. Get your grid right now. Starting on the front row, Brian Kennedy with that 1 minute 16.376. Peter Lanik gonna start on the outside. Next row belongs to Clint Fletcher with Aaron Dietrich in 4th. 5th spot, Colin Kortanik. Harley Lewis going to start in 6th. 7th, D. Thunline. Tulane, I'm going to get that, I promise. Tulane, David Curtis in 8th. 9th, Perry Duncan, Michael Pavolano in 10th. 11th spot, Matthew Guazinda with Carlos Bonds, rounding out the 12-car field here tonight. It's actually, for some reason, inverted the field already here. Not exactly sure if they're doing that on purpose tonight, but Brian Kennedy with the fastest lap time gonna start in the back. Not sure if that was an error on their part, but we might just be going with it. We'll have to find out. Carlos Bonds in that yellow Corvette gonna start up front. And who knows, maybe my timing and scoring's broken. Wouldn't surprise me. So for the 12 turns here tonight, we don't have We have some drone cameras, but they're through the S's here today. Flip camera showing you an aerial coverage. We'll have to see if these guys get underway. Long grid here. So a little bit of an extension for the green. And now the pace car rolls off. About to get underway here at Road Atlanta. If this is your first time watching the BMW Car Club of America, we're in race number 7. Pace car going to pull off this time by. We might be doing a full course pace here. Have to wait and see what these guys have in store after the inversion of the grid. I'm not familiar with that. I don't think we've done that all season long, so throwing me off of her loop here tonight. But I think I like it. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, a lot of these guys that have been finishing up towards the front. Brian Kennedy's been having a great season. Clint Fletcher. Unfortunately, we don't have, I believe it's the number 16. Number 16 or the number 12 here tonight. We'll have to wait and see what's going on. I got a message here on Discord. Let's see if we can find this out. Unrelated, unfortunately. All right, well, let's get it underway. The long back straightaway here at Road Atlanta. We've got David Curtis with some great finishes. Tulane, Dietrich. Some of those drivers starting past halfway in the back of the field here tonight. So we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting if they can work their way back up through. You know, tires are going to be key. These long straightaways might give them the opportunity to slipstream. Into turn 10 here. 2 more corners, and we're going to come around for the start-finish line. Pace car pulls off this time around. And here we are, doubled up, ready to go green. BMW Car Club of America, and a rough start here for some of these guys as they go 3 wide down the front stretch. Big wreck here for the 96. Looks like Brian Kennedy's involved. Several different drivers involved in this. Somebody went for one heck of a ride. I believe that was Clint Fletcher. A big wreck there at the start of this race. Another car flipping end over end. I believe that was Colin Kortanik. Unfortunately, there's no yellows. So Kortanik back to 8th position. And through all that chaos, the 111 takes over the lead. The lead lap number 1, it's going to be the 111. Michael Pavlano. David Curtis, close 2nd position, trying to chase him down. And a lock up there by Pavlano. This might give an opportunity for Curtis to get a run. Through the S's now. And this top 5 starting to accordion back together. Actually, top 6, Carlos Bonds is about 3 seconds off. You've got Brian Kennedy, who picked up about 5 positions on that lap 1 turn, not even turn 1. It was straightaway 1. We made it about 300 feet. On board with the back of the 111. You can see David Curtis trying to chase him down. A little bit later braking here for the 43. And Perry Duncan also on the move. Harley Lewis and Dean Thuline in the mix now. Brian Kennedy trying to work his way past the 224 of Carlos Bonds. Now to the inside. He will get the position for 6th. What a move there by that Porsche. It's got a little bit of left front damage, but nonetheless still driving pretty well. Battle shaping up here for 3rd, though. Perry Duncan all over the back bumper of David Curtis. And while these two try to sort things out, the 111 of Poblano has stretched out the lead to about 1.7 seconds. Harley Lewis falls back about a second this lap. Last time by a 117 to Perry Duncan's 116. Now this time around, about 0.6 of a second. This battle hasn't subsided for 2nd position. Duncan just waiting on Curtis to make a mistake. As we try to locate exactly where they are on the racetrack. I'm going to guess turn 8, and I guess correctly. You can see these two bunching back up behind. That's Thuline and Lewis starting to bunch back together for the 4th and 5th spot. The 84 off to a rough start, has a little bit of left front damage. I mean, really, not a lot of guys got through that unscathed. Unfortunately, Clint Fletcher, who is back out on the racetrack, got the worst end of that deal. Stayed on the lead lap, but is 1 minute 3 seconds behind your leader. Matthew Guazinda also involved in that. Aaron Dietrich trying to salvage this day. Peter Lanik, these guys well over 30 seconds back here. Kortanik, who went end over end. Looks like he's just put it back out on the track. He's going to try to get it done. Hit a quick pit stop to get that damage repaired. There's Carlos Bonds, who started on the front row. On point, but back to 7th. Curtis starts to pull away a little bit here from Duncan, but isn't making ground up on Poblano, and with about 7 minutes in, Poblano looking like the favorite. 4 laps led here for the 111. Into 10A and 10B. Another solid pace here. Fastest car on the racetrack is the 111. Second fastest, Perry Duncan, with a 1:16.829 last time by, and he is all over Curtis again as they come down the front stretch. You see the lead that the 111 is stretched out. It's over 2 seconds now. Just a great drive into the entrance. Great exit there for the 111. Let's help him stretch out the lead a little bit each lap. Is he using up the tires, though? Interesting to see if they're able to reel him back in. Peter Lanik starts to work back up to Colin Kortanik, and it looks like maybe a pass here for the 8th position soon as they go through the S's. Nothing there quite just yet, but Duncan, is he going to branch out here? He's been all over the back of Curtis, but hasn't tried to peek or make any moves yet. Gets another opportunity there. These guys taking it really wide off the exit of the S's. Still nothing yet. 2.3 seconds for Pavolano. Curtis still able to hold on to the 2nd position, but he might be holding up Duncan a little bit here. Somebody might have an opportunity to go up there and catch the leader, because Duncan has been consistently faster than the 8 car. Here he is peeking now to the inside. Cuts the nose off and able to hold on again into turn 11. This opens up the door here for Lewis. On board with the number 763. And this is good. Lewis has had a rough time. Car off the track, and that's 2 positions gained now. Duncan finally gets around as Curtis makes that mistake and loses 3 spots. Falls back to 5th. And the battle hasn't subsided up here. Tulane, Lewis, Duncan. We're about 3 seconds back from Pavolano. Interesting to see if the 8 can catch up. Lanik still not passed on the 32. It's our 2nd closest battle on the racetrack. Got Matthew Puzinda on pit road right now. Probably just going to elect to take that inversion on the next heat. But halfway through, and it's been all the 111, all the way through. 8 laps led now. Pavolano, and a 3-second lead. Duncan gets a good run through the S's here, but they give it back to Lewis on the exit of these 2 corners. Into turn 6 and turn 7 gives a lot of that space back. However, they are catching up to the 111. They've shaved about 0.3 off. All 3 of these cars from 2nd back. And Curtis now starting to catch his way back up here to the 4th position. Tulane. There's some beautiful shots here at the very scenic Road America. 7 minutes remain. Your top 5 is Michael Pavolano, Perry Duncan, Harley Lewis, Dean Tulane, and David Curtis. Ryan Kennedy has worked his way back up to 6th after having that start all the way in the back of the field. Biggest mover of the race to the 77, where he started back in 12th. The lead has shaved down to 1.3 seconds now. The tires might be used up here for the 111. And that means Perry Duncan, Harley Lewis, Dean Tulane might have the opportunity to make a pass for the lead before it's all said and done. They start to spread out a little bit, 2nd through 4th. And Curtis has fallen off 1.5 seconds from this group. You can see him slowly chipping away, almost down to a 2nd now as they go through the S's. This top 4 are going to be really interesting here for the last 6 minutes. So looking back here at Harley Lewis, still having his hands full with Tulane. Number 84 has not let Lewis get out of his sight. Here you see him working off the final 2 corners. That gap grows a little bit. But the lead has shrunk down to 0.8 of a second. Duncan now in the slipstream. Shaves off another couple tenths there. And the entry to the S's has the momentum down the hill. Overshoots a little bit there on that exit and gives it back. What a good run on the exits of the S's. Now to 0.5 second. Under 5 minutes to go. Probably about 2 laps left in the books. And Pavolano, hold on to it. We've seen this before, where the 111 stretches out to a massive lead, and look at the run from Duncan into the entrance of 10. Now into 11 and 12. Pavolano is about to have his hands full. And if these guys can't make quick work of this pass, that's going to allow Lewis and Tulane to get up here. We might have a 4-way battle for the win. Into the entrance of the S's. This is where Duncan performed his best and shaved the most time. Let's see what he does this time with dirty air. A little more of the same on the exit, doesn't give up quite as much time. Meanwhile, Tulane within a couple tenths of Lewis, maybe a pass for 3rd here soon. Little lock up on the brakes there for Pavolano, but still well enough to get through 10. Now coming into 11, stretching the lead back out to 0.5 second, and Duncan now losing time to Lewis. Curtis starting to resurge again, back under a second to Tulane. Poblano has not left the back bumper, though. Or the front bumper, rather, of Perry Duncan, and this battle has stayed heated. 2 minutes 16 left. Could possibly see the white flag this time by. And a pass now for the lead. Side by side down the hill into 10A. Oh, a little contact there between the 8 and the 111. This allows Lewis now to get a run. Three-way battle for the lead with 1:51 left. Now Tulane gets by Lewis. Lewis back on the crossover into the S's. 1:34 left. Definitely getting the white flag next time by. This could be the last lap. And Duncan knows this. He's trying to run away with it. Why don't we put Curtis back into the mix? Possible for top 3 here for the 43. Lewis able to get back by Tulane, and now a race down the backstretch. While this all goes on, the 8 of Perry Duncan has checked out about a second over this pack. Poblano, who led most of the laps here, finds himself short for the last 2 minutes. Tulane gonna have his hands full with Curtis in the slipstream down the front stretch. Peeking to the outside here. Final lap, white flag up in the air. You can see the side-by-side here between Tulane and Lewis again. And this puts Curtis back into the hunt, maybe for a top 3. He could get the 2-for-1 here in the 10A. Down the long back straightaway. Going to be on the outside here as they go into 10. 3 wide. Locks up the brakes. Tulane peaks as well. Contact with the back. But Perry Duncan comes around for the final corner. And Perry Duncan's going to get the win in heat number 1. And without fail, they always make sure to make it interesting there at the finish line. So the winner of heat number 1 goes to the number 8. We saw the 111 of Michael Poblano lead the vast majority of the laps, but Perry Duncan leads the most important one. Being patient, saving the tires, and you saw that 3 wide back there with Tulane and the contact from the 43 of Curtis. Close battle to the very end. So there it is. We're getting ready to warm up again here. Let's see if we can find the number 8 of Perry Duncan. Perry Duncan, it's Bradley Cooper in the V-Speed booth. Do you got a copy?
I can hear you. How you doing, Bradley?
I'm pretty good. You looked pretty patient there. Can you describe what happened with the qualifying? Did they invert qualifying tonight?
Yeah, they always invert qualifying. So we always do a reverse grid for the heat races, and then it switches again for the feature.
Okay, I guess I just never caught that in all the races that I broadcasted. I'm still new to road racing and what you guys do, but congratulations on the stage 1 win. You looked very patient. You let the 111 string out a lead of over 3 seconds, and with about 5 minutes to go, you chase him back down.
That was really close. Dave was racing me hard, and he's always really good defensively. The Ferraris just pulled off the corners no matter how good of a run I could get. So it was tough to get them, and both of Dave and Mike at the end had to make a mistake so I could get by.
Yeah, we saw him overshoot the corner a little bit, opened up the door, and it looked like you threw the S's. You were able to get down the hill, but then when it came to the uphill, it's just a little more difficult to get that BMW to turn off.
Right, yeah, and then I guess this third to last lap, he was starting to brake early because his tires were going, and I knew that, and I was still pretty confident in my brakes, so I just stayed on the outside and stuck it in there so I could get past him.
Well, congratulations on the win. We'll send you back down there trackside so you can get warmed up, and we'll go for your main feature. Good luck out there.
Thanks, Bradley. Have a good night.
That's Perry Duncan, winner of heat number 1, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're watching the BMW Car Club of America NCC Sim Racing at Road at Atlanta on V-Speed 2. We'll be back right after this.
From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email. And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Slack.
Slack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins at Auto Club.
Back here live, V-Speed 2, NCC Sim Racing getting ready to grid. And I'd like to apologize for not knowing the inversion all this time. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Well, I'm your host, Bradley Cooper. We're back here live, BMW Car Club of America race number 7 at Road Atlanta. And I'm going to just go through the grid without even putting it up on the screen. We've got Matthew Guazinda and Clint Fletcher on the front row. Aaron Dietrich and Carlos Bonds, the second row. 6 spots going to belong to Colin Kortanik with Brian Kennedy in 7th. David Curtis in 8th with Dean Tulane in 9th. Harley Lewis is going to be in the 10th spot with Michael Pavolano in 11th. And rounding out your 12-car field here tonight, that'll be your winner of Heat 1, Perry Duncan. So some of the drivers that got caught up in that lap 1, straightaway 1, first 300 feet, massive crash. We're going to start up here on the front row. Let's see if they can pull it back together. Very unfortunate there on that first heat, what had happened. They went 3 wide. I see you, Guazinda. I see you. Here we go, getting ready to go green into 6 and 7 now. See Aaron Dietrich, who also got involved in that. Big problems there for the 96, and end over end for Cortanic. I believe it was either Fletcher or Guazinda that went completely over the pit wall. The damage just almost unrepairable. 1:04 back from the field. This gives the drivers an opportunity, though, to get a win and invert those points a little bit. Into 10A now as the pace car gets ready to pull off. Guazinda, Fletcher, Dietrich, Bonds, and Lanik. Your top 5 to start this off. For your main feature, it's going to be the 52. Into turn 1. Green flag is out, and we're underway. And some more 3 wide into turn 1. Into turn 2 now, looking a little bit better into the S's as they enter down the hill. Dietrich losing a little bit of positions here. Actually up 1. It was Bonds that fell back. Now a little bit of a rough spell there for some of these drivers. Back to 7th position. 3 wide as they go into turn 6. Guazinda falls all the way back to 12th on that move. The one that benefits through all of this, the 04 of Fletcher. Off of the final corner to lead lap number 1. It's going to be Clint Fletcher. He pulls out about 1.5 seconds over Aaron Dietrich. Peter Lanik right behind him, about 0.2 of a second as they go through the S's. Billy Lewis, David Curtis. More of the familiar with Tulane also in this mix. These 3 could not leave each other's bumpers at the end of Heat 1. Guazinda trying to come back after losing all those positions. He started outside the front row, actually started on the pole here for the invert. Falls all the way back to 11th. Not exactly sure what happened to the 52. I'm not entirely sure that maybe the power went off on the car, maybe some wheel issues. It sends back up to speed here for the 52. There's your Heat 1 winner, Perry Duncan. He's up 2 spots from starting in the last position on the invert, up to 10th now. Avellano in front of him, though. We saw that in the first heat. Avellano ahead of the 8 for quite some time, but used up the tires, had to brake a little bit earlier. These guys actually falling off a little bit for the rest of the pack. Lanik. Oh boy, off track here for Dietrich. Avellano made a mistake here as well, but let's go back and watch Dietrich. He overshoots this S, like the 3rd set, I believe. Just a little too hot here on the brakes. Sends it off into the sand trap. Hits the rumble strip, actually. And then let's go back here to the 111. Hits the outside wall right after that. Massive damage to the 111. Unfortunate there for both these drivers. Dietrich falls all the way back to 12th, Poblano in 11th, but a lot of damage, probably going to bring it down pit road. The right side on that car is pushed completely in. Well, he's going to stick with it. Let's see how long it lasts. The 111's got to be struggling here. 3-second lead now for the 04 of Fletcher. He's pulled out over Lanik. Lanik all by himself as well, about 3 seconds ahead of Kortanik in the 32. Battle back here with Lewis, Kennedy, and Tulane. A little bit of front end damage on Lewis's Hoonigan Porsche. And here they come racing into turns 10A and 10B. A move here in the slipstream for Lewis. Gonna take the inside down the hill. And a pass now for 5th position. 2 for 1 here, maybe. But then a crossover back here, and Tulane gets in to Duncan. There's some contact there in the final 3 corners. Kennedy gets back around Lewis. Doesn't appear that there's any damage on the 8 from that little touch. They're going to send it back into the S's. And it looks like the 77 of Kennedy makes a little mistake there on the exit. Side by side behind him with Lewis. Tulane going to try to get it in turn 7. It's not going to work. Now opening up the door for Duncan. Slipstream down the backstretch. Duncan just has nowhere to go right now. Maybe peeking 3 wide as they go into TNA. They are. And Duncan's going to take the inside. He's going to brake a little early here. And thinks better of it. Tulane gets around Lewis now. Kennedy checks out about a second. Meanwhile, the biggest lead that we've seen all night, 4.5 seconds for Clint Fletcher in the 04. There's the 43 of Curtis. There's Kortanik, Lanik. The big spread here for these drivers. The battle between Tulane and Lewis starting to heat back up. We saw Perry Duncan almost taking it 3 wide here at this last time by. He's since fallen off about 0.8 of a second. Has some ground to make back up. So just about at the halfway point. 8 minutes in. Leading 6 laps is Clint Fletcher here tonight. The NCC Sim Racing main feature at Road Atlanta. Second position, Peter Lanik with a great recovery after a rough start to the first heat. In the second position, 4.5, almost 5 seconds back now as they go through the S's. Colin Kortanik, another driver that went end over end in the 32. In third, David Curtis, been pretty consistent all night, fighting inside the top 5. Sits in the 4th position, and Brian Kennedy with his hands full between Tulane and Lewis, who have kind of subsided here a little bit. Checking in with Aaron Dietrich he fell out of the top 10. Back up into it now in the 9th position. Carlos Bonds in the 224. Started up front in the first heat. Had about a mid-pack finish. Has now fallen down to the 10th position as of this one. Michael Pavolano, who hit the outside wall coming out of the S's. He's since got that damage repaired. And then there's Matthew Guazinda, who was on the outside row back in 12th. So that's through your field here with halfway point. 10 minutes to go. You're watching the BMW Car Club of America on V-Speed 2. We're going to take another quick commercial break here. Bring you uninterrupted coverage for the remainder of this race. Get some word from our sponsors. We'll be back right after this.
From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, it's burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Slack.
Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here live. BMW Car Club of America race number 7, and Brian Kennedy, Dean Thulin going side by side. I apologize for having to take that commercial break. I just had a massive sneezing fit and I knew it was coming, so I had to take a quick commercial. I think it's subsided here. Let's go back and watch what we missed during that commercial break. Here's Thulin trying to get around. They go side by side into 10. You can see the slipstream as they enter 10. And Thulin just makes that move a little bit late, I think. Doesn't get the nose in there enough. And that allows Kennedy to get the run off the exit. The battle heating back up for the 5th position. Kennedy under fire again from Thulin. Lewis almost back up into this mix. But how about Clint Fletcher? He's pulled out a 6, almost 7-second lead with about 7 minutes to go. Reporting the effect of 5th all the way back to Perry Duncan in 8th. Starting to happen here in the S's. And Thulin goes off track. Loses 3 spots. 84 makes a mistake on the exit. Let's go back and see that. Just overshoots the top of the hill here. Almost contact with the outside wall. Very, very close. To mitigate that damage, he's going to have to get back up. 3 positions rather. He was on the back of Brian Kennedy there for a moment. Fletcher, Lanik, Kortanik, Curtis, and Kennedy, the top 5. Lewis, Duncan, Tulane, Dietrich, and Bonds, the top 10. Pavolano and Guazinda, the front runners here for some of this portion of this racing tonight, unfortunately fall out of the top 10 in this feature. David Curtis with a comfortable gap here of about 3.5 seconds back to Brian Kennedy. He is actually catching up a little bit here to your 3rd place driver of Colin Kortanik. With just under 5 minutes to go, plenty of opportunity here for Curtis to get up into the top 2. There's only about 3 seconds separating him and Peter Lanik. Totally possible for the 43 to get up there. Last time by, he was about 0.2 faster than both those drivers. Here comes this time by, and Kortanik actually 1/10 faster, so they're picking up the time that they left to Curtis. But Fletcher has all but checked out. He's in another time zone here for the last 4 minutes. He's led every single lap completed here tonight, and it's looking like the 04 might have it wrapped up here. Down the hill now for Fletcher, and wait and see how big of a lead this is. You're just now seeing Peter Lanik come into frame. And that means that Clint Fletcher is coming out of the final corner. 3 minutes to go. Let's take a ride around here with the 04 to show you how he's getting around this place tonight. A little rough there through the S's, but was able to still make up some time. He's one of the few drivers that's running the 117 almost flat. Aaron Dietrich, actually the 2nd fastest car last time by. Best lap time for the 04, a 1:16.6. And that is a 2nd faster than most of the field, if we're being honest here tonight. Clean air making a big difference. Just under 2 minutes, probably going to get the white flag next time by. There's Peter Lanik trying to shave away that lead. Last time by, matched the lap time of Fletcher, but it's not going to be enough. He needs Fletcher to make a big mistake. It's really not looking like it's going to happen because of this massive lead. Fletcher can afford to back up his corners a little bit more. He doesn't have to drive off quite as hard. All he has to do is keep the heat in the tires. You can see him lose a little bit of time here, but down the back stretch, coming around for the white flag this time by the 04, has got this thing locked up. As long as he can keep it on the racetrack and keep it off the wall, he is good to go. Colin Kortanik and David Curtis starting to heat up, though. About 0.4 of a second separating these two for the final lap. A final charge here for the 43 of Curtis. Lewis going back at Kennedy. The two battles here as Fletcher takes the white flag. Kortanik trying to hold on to a podium. It's Curtis all over the back bumper. Through the S's, gets a good run. Locks it up a little bit there for the exit. But able to keep the speed and pulls back out about 0.8. Battle between Lewis and Kennedy. Still pretty tight though, into 6 and 7. And here comes Clint Fletcher into turns 10 and 11. Final time around here. Flashing the headlights for the 04, and that's going to be a win for the 04. Battle between Lewis and Kennedy. Off the final corner, it's going to be Kennedy for the top 5. A great finish here. Clint Fletcher 8 seconds ahead. And your winner here tonight in the 04. We're going to get your post-race interviews with your top 3. As we round those drivers up, you're watching the BMW Car Club of America live on V-Speed 2. We'll be back right after this. Back here live, BMW Car Club of America race number 7 at Road Atlanta has concluded its main feature. And we're down here in the pits with the number 32, your third place finisher of the night. That's Colin Kortanik. And Colin, I tell you what, man, rough start to the first heat. It looked like you went flipping at least 4 times. We hadn't even made it 300 feet. How did it feel to get a recovery and redemption here with the top 3?
Yeah, no, that was good, right? I was really excited. I felt like I had good pace for this track. You know, a little bit better pace, a little bit closer to some of the faster guys. So I was a little bit bummed to start off that race that way. But at least I knew in the first race, some of the fast guys also, you know, their race got screwed too. So, you know, I knew we'd have a chance to have some competitive racing the second time around. So, you know, glad we have this format. But no, it was fun out there. I know, you know, the second race there wasn't that much action, but you know, Dave had good pace too. Dave Curtis, you know, so just kept seeing him in my rear view and was trying to catch Pete, but if I try to get closer, I'd make a mistake. But No, it's a fun track. I think we all love this track, and there's some really good competitive hard racing tonight.
Yeah, it looked like with the invert that the field spread out a lot more versus the first race. And I know that since you got involved in that accident, it was kind of hard for you to make anything of it, but you rebound, you come back. How tough was it to get around this place? It looks like a lot of S's.
It is, and there's a little bit of some blind corners where you just got to make sure you got the speed right. And honestly, the hardest part, I think, for me and for a lot of the guys was just getting onto that back straight and making sure you got enough pace, and that really made a difference. But I think you ask everybody, they all love this track, and I know I think Scott's actually there at the moment, which is why he wasn't racing with us tonight, because he's going to be out there tomorrow on track, and that's awesome. I know all the guys here would love to take their cars out to Road Atlanta. It's such a fun place.
Yeah, it is a pretty awesome facility, wide and plenty of opportunities for slipstream, a variety of everything.
Oh yeah.
Colin, you come home third. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
I got to give it up to my Gasburn buddies, right? Representing Gasburn, and just, again, all the guys that were racing, in the league, just kudos to all of them, just because we've all become so much better racers because we're all helping each other out and learning things each week. So it's just been a great experience.
We appreciate your time. Third place finisher here tonight, Colin Kortanek. We look forward to maybe seeing you again up here in the broadcast booth.
I hope so, man. Thanks so much.
Moving on down pit road, we've got your second place finisher, and that's Peter Lanick, and another guy that had we were having some crosstalk there in Victory Lane, I see.
We were just catching up with Clint, talking about the race and just doing a little post race deconstruction. What happened? Yeah. So anyway.
Well, you started off a little rough as well. We just talked to Colin Kortanek. You two were also involved in that first 300 feet of wreckage in the first heat, but you rebound the same, and you come back here for a second place, man. How does it feel?
Feels good. Just working on consistency, not making any mistakes. But finally, after years of practice and racing, having that focus, even though it is just for 20 minutes, it's just a huge competitive advantage, which I know everyone else is already doing it. But I feel like I've gotten out of the rut, and I'm starting to like this track more and more the more I run it. So I can definitely see that every time I'm on a track that's one of my favorites, I tend to do a little bit better.
Yeah, and you got to add those into the books, because you got to have one of those races on your calendar that you just look forward to going to that place.
Every time, yeah. I was looking forward to Bathurst, and then that didn't turn out that well. But it's just it's a very unforgiving track. You cannot make any mistakes there.
Yeah, in Australia, man, any track that's modeled off of real road racing, it's going to be a rough one.
They're nuts. Who builds a track like that? But anyway, Road Atlanta
Only the Aussies.
Was awesome. Yeah, great race. Thanks for commentating.
Hey, anytime. I appreciate you guys having me. It was fun to watch. You guys bunched up. It looked like the second heat was a little more spread out, but that first one was top notch. 3 wide into 10A and B. I couldn't believe it. But you were on an island here. You had 3 seconds separating you and Kortanek. You had about 8 seconds separating you and Fletcher. So you were able to just kind of drive and run your own race for a long time.
That's what I was just telling Clint. Sometimes that's good. Other times it can be a little distracting when you don't have anyone pushing you around. But Colin was coming up, nipping my heels there. He closed from 3 seconds down to just a little bit over 1 second. I kind of had to. I was a little distracted in the middle of a race. And when I saw him coming, I said, I got to put my head down and focus. And he probably made a couple of small mistakes, because then suddenly that gap jumped to 2.5 seconds, and but I'll take it. I need the points. I like this track, so I'm glad I did well after qualifying pretty well.
Well, Peter, congratulations on second place here tonight. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out and thank?
Gasburn and the admins of the league for continuing to put on a great set of races for us.
Outside of that, Peter, we look forward to maybe having you back up here in the broadcast booth next week. Thank you for your time.
I sure hope so. Thanks, Bradley.
Second place finisher, Peter Lanik in the 294. And finally, down here in Victory Lane, it was a guy in his own area code, 8.5 seconds ahead at one point. You finish out the race here with all 16 that we ran in the second heat. You led every one of them. And what happened, I got to ask, to Matthew Guazenda there at the start of that race on that second heat?
I mean, Matt, I think coming into it, he knew he kind of messed up in the first race, so he just let us all be gentlemen and pass him. So that was very nice of him. He didn't need to do that, but after that, it was kind of smooth sailing. I knew coming into this Bathurst didn't work out very well, and I wanted to make up for that. And then Heat 1 kind of didn't work out, but in the end, because it's reverse grid, I was able to flip back to the front, so I guess it kind of worked out in my favor.
Yeah, you almost flipped out into pit road, I think, in the first 300 feet of Heat 1. It went 3 wide right at the start. Did somebody miss the start? What happened there?
I think Matt just got a slow start, and then he didn't really know which lane to go in. He didn't know if he should go left, but looking forward, he said he's just going to stay center and make all the fast guys figure out how to go around him.
I mean, it's just one of those situations where you can't really predict what other people are going to do. Things happen. I wouldn't blame Matt or anyone in particular. It's just you're taking the green flag, that adrenaline rush, and you just go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But outside of that, Clint, you pulled out a massive lead, the biggest lead we saw all night. I was a little bit concerned because it looked like a little bit of what Poblano did in the first heat where he burned his stuff up. Duncan was able to chase him down, but that didn't seem to be the case with you. What was the secret to keeping the tires on this thing?
Well, I've originally been driving the Porsche, and that got eaten alive during practice, so I switched to the BMW, and I basically was going to do Heat 2, just full send, drive as hard as I could, and I had no real strategy. If the tires gave up on me, oh well, play defensive game, but every lap I just tried to be consistent, hit every mark, try not to lock up the brakes or spin the rear tires, and I think consistency just paid off tonight.
Yeah, and you only fell off about a second compared to your best lap on lap 1. Well done.
Thank you.
So, Clint, you get the victory here in the main. We've got next week. What do we have in store for us?
I don't even know what track next week is, so couldn't tell you.
It couldn't tell me. Well, here, I'll pull it up for you. I was hoping you would answer that for me. See how good of a job I did as a podcaster?
Hockenheim Ring. That's a interesting track. I don't remember the last time I drove. It might have been GT4 League we did, but that's definitely a tough track, especially in these cars with so much power and then some really heavy braking zones. So should be pretty interesting. I think I'll probably be going back to the Porsche. So should put on a good show, I hope.
Well, outside of that, Clint, we appreciate your time. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out and thank for tonight's victory?
BMWCCA League for putting this on, you for the broadcast as well, and then Perry for the awesome liveries.
Yeah, we got to thank Perry. He does a great job. Those cars look sharp. We appreciate your time, Clint. Go get him next week.
Thank you.
Race winner, second heat, the 0-4, and stage 1 winner, Harry Duncan, getting that first heat win. Let's go through your final finishing order. So there's our top 3 with Clint Fletcher, Peter Lanik, and Colin Kortanik. David Curtis is going to bring it home 4th with Brian Kennedy in the 5th position. Harley Lewis in 6th with the first heat winner, Perry Duncan, in 7th. Dean Tulane makes a little mistake there in the S's, falls back to 8th. Aaron Dietrich, also a mistake with the 96, going to come home 9th. And Carlos Bonds able to hold on to a top 10 in the 224 Corvette. Michael Poblano, second place finisher in the first heat, had a mistake as well, hit the outside wall in the S's, falls back to 11th. And then the gentleman's rule with Matthew Guazenda falling off there right at the start, back to 12th. Never really was able to recover and come back. That concludes our coverage here for Road America. BMW Car Club of America is going to go live again at 8:15 Eastern Time next Thursday night on V-Speed 2. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. It helps us out tremendously. And go check out VSRN and V-Speed 1. Lots of oval racing on there, but I'm sure you'll find it enjoyable. For everybody at V-Speed that puts this together, Harry Duncan for the libraries, and everyone at BMW Car Club of America, I've got Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Connor Horn, Alec Martinez, Morgan Cook. We've got all kinds of additions here at V-Speed. We thank you for your time. This is Bradley Cooper signing off. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Oh, big wiggle. Here comes Miles using the box. Zap car closing in behind.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned.
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.